by Riverside.
Hello, everyone. Whether you're changing diapers, outside grilling, or mowing the lawn, or laying on the couch letting the kids run all around and destroy the place, welcome to the Young Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and today I have some incredible guests, yes, guests, plural, with me. They're two of my favorite hosts of a podcast that I'm personally a big fan of. I have Manny and Shawn from the Manny and Shawn Experience. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing well.
It's Sunday. It was a long week. I stayed up a little later than I should be, past 40. So
I feel you. I just stayed up later last night because I just couldn't sleep. And I'm like, yeah, video games sound great.
why not?
Why not? But I'm super excited to have you guys. I'm excited to do this with you guys. But before we get into it, right here at the top of the show, I'd like to just do some housekeeping, clean up, declutter, and shout out our opening sponsor of the podcast, For Fathers Apparel. I know you guys follow me on Instagram. A lot of our listeners today are following me on Instagram. So you've seen me wear these super fun polos. You guys need to get some because you guys can match and you guys would look adorable in some of these together. I'm just saying. But they set out to create dad clothing that is not just stylish, but is also practical and comfortable. They understand that dads go above and beyond, and our clothing and their clothing, is designed to keep up with that. The team of dad designers set out to build performance clothing because no other line existing represented dads. And to fit the dad lifestyle, they took all the best dadisms. Donuts with dad, gone fishing, mowing the lawn, mow, glow, pizza night, baseball, all these different dadisms that are just so fun, and printed them on the best performing materials, and they fit nicely for a dad bod. So with the code YOUNGDAD, that's YOUNGDAD, you save 20% on your entire purchase, and you help out the podcast tremendously. So that's enough of the opening business. We'll do some closing business later. But let me tell you about the Manny and Shawn Experience. It's a variety podcast that was born from their daily dinner conversation. Each episode is unique, covering many topics, including pop culture, politics, listener submissions, and so much more. But what gets them excited is the collaboration with amazing people in the LGBTQ plus community and straight allies. These individuals share their unique experience, adding a new dimension to their podcast and always keeping their audience intrigued. Manny and Shawn also do vlogs on YouTube on their travels and experiences. So, anything else you guys want to say about the Manny and Shawn Experience?
I think you got it all.
I know. That was a great intro.
Thank you. I like to do my homework. Plus, I mentioned this at the top. I am such a huge fan of your guys' podcast. Like, it's a podcast I go to listen to after. It's like a palate cleanser podcast for me. Because I listen to a lot of like politics and sports podcasts throughout my day and whatnot. When I finally get through all those, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a palate cleanser. So you guys are one of my two palate cleansers, along with Midday Musings that I listen to on the regular. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are just so funny, lighthearted. The conversation's just so good. I'm like, I learned something new, or like your guys' perspective is so like unique and just fun too. So
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I love your podcast too. You bring so many different people from different backgrounds, and that's something we can appreciate. Because sometimes podcasts just focus on one singular line of people. But I really like all the conversations. You bring a lot of mental health conversations in place, which is something we're really big on here. Not only in our podcast, but in our personal life. We really live through mental health
Advocacy.
That's the word I was looking for.
I love it. No, and those conversations are important to have with like everyone from every different walk of life, you know. And obviously it's themed. I talk to a lot of parents, but I also talk to a lot of like non-parents as well, couples and mental health people and everyone in between. I've talked to friends from college that I've had before on the podcast, random dudes I've met on Facebook groups on the podcast, to nurses, doctors, trainers, coaches, big swole jack dudes, Don Brody, host of podcast kind of thing. So just everyone in between is like welcome on the show, because everyone has a little bit of something unique that they bring. and it adds to every episode. There's a little bit of something for everyone. At least I believe there's a little bit of something for everyone. So
100. Yeah.
So, all right, let's jump into some of the beginning opening questions here. So I have 5 questions, number 1 through 5, based
Okay.
on some of the things you shared with me. I thought of 5 questions. So whoever wants to go first, Manny or Shawn, who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Also, for our listeners who are watching on YouTube and they see you or watching the video podcast, and they're like, okay, I see Manny and Shawn, but which one's Manny and which one's Shawn? So if you guys could please just quickly say who's who.
I'm Manny.
Default, I'm Shawn.
Sense. Okay. All right, Shawn, 1 through 5.
3.
3. All right. So this is our food favorite category. What ultimate comfort food, and is there a story behind why you love it?
Ooh. Okay, I have 2.
Okay.
If that's allowed.
Of course.
Okay. So the first one would be pizza. Just because it is simple, easy. Everyone loves pizza. It's a good
You and my
thing.
wife.
When you can't figure out what you want for dinner, you just like, you want pizza? I'm like, sure, that works. And it's also very good the next day. And
Breakfast or lunch.
Or lunch. Whichever. It doesn't matter. Late night snack, it works for all categories.
Literally.
Anytime. And then the second one would be, so my grandmother used to make pot pie. Chicken pot pie. I'm originally from North Carolina, so the way that we make it is a bit different. So there are strips of dough, and then there's bowl of chicken broth, actual chicken meat in it. It is just delicious and comforting, and it makes me think of home whenever I have it. My mom actually last year made me like a giant pot of it because I hadn't had it in so long. But yeah, it just makes me think of home. It makes me think of family, and it's just food for my soul as well. So
I love that. I love that. And do you have a favorite restaurant or dish you've discovered on your guys' like travels, or when you're out doing like game nights with friends? Do you have like a favorite restaurant or dish that you've just discovered that you just always think about, and you're always telling Manny, you're like, we got to go back to this place for that thing?
Okay, so within the last 6 months, there's been a Mexican restaurant that opened here near us. It's called Azteca. It is so good. I think I try to try something different every time I go there, but their tacos are so good that I would usually wind up getting the tacos, and he usually winds up getting the burrito.
Not usually. It's always
That's what you get.
It's all, yeah.
And they also have killer margaritas there for
Yeah.
cheap. Oh,
True.
love that place.
Nice. Manny, what's in your burrito? What's like your go-to burrito meat?
Usually I'll try to be healthy to a certain extent. You know, burrito's not healthy. So sometimes I'll go like chicken because it makes me feel healthy. But I really usually want the pork.
Yes. Okay. My man, carnitas is the way to go. It's
Yes,
always
carnitas all the
carnitas.
way.
Literally how I'll judge a Mexican restaurant is by their carnitas. Like if I
Right?
go to a new Mexican restaurant, I will always get the carnitas burrito, and I get it the same way everywhere I go, and that's how I will judge that restaurant from that point forward.
That's crazy because I judge them on their tacos and their quesadillas because I love quesadillas. And I know you feel like it's probably hard to mess up a quesadilla, but people can mess them up.
Oh, you can mess up a quesadilla. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get a
mess
flat
that up.
tortilla with nothing in it. And you're like, what is it?
Why is there just cheese in here?
This is so boring, not what I ordered. But no, if you go to
Exactly.
like a restaurant and you get a quesadilla, you're expecting like sour cream. I can't talk. Sour cream, guac, pico, like the
Yeah.
extras, like the things that come with it. Even though I don't get
Right.
any of those things because I'm not a big fan of those things. I'm super basic. Like my burrito is like carnitas, rice, beans, cheese.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it. That's it. Don't put nothing else in there. That's perfect. Put my beans and my rice on the side. Give me some salsa, and I'm good to go. Kind of thing. Happy
Love
as can
it.
be. All right, Manny, you had the options of 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Let's go as 4.
4. All right. We're going down to the holiday traditions. If you had to choose, or wait, never mind. What's your favorite Halloween or Christmas decoration or event, and why? So your favorite Halloween or Christmas decoration or event, and why?
So I love both holidays so much. And we overly decorate for both. So I would say Halloween Horror Nights is probably my favorite event because I think it's the most cohesive of any of the events we go to for Halloween because we go to a lot of them. But I just love how they can immerse you into movies that you may have seen. So it's not just a normal haunted house. Like last year, they had The Exorcist. So we went through the house and we went through the scenes of the movies, and that was quite scary. But I love both holidays. We will probably do 3 to 4 events for Halloween and maybe 2 to 3 for Christmas.
Mhm.
Yeah, we pack it on. Like November to December, you might not see us because we're always out on the weekends.
Okay,
What's your
that's
favorite
super fun.
decoration?
Decoration. My smoke machine. Like I get so many compliments at Halloween. It's like, ooh, it's so smoky. I'm like, yeah.
You're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're the one
Me,
street that looks like it's on fire in the neighborhood on Halloween night.
I love that. There used to be a house. So 2, 3 years ago when I took my kids trick or treating, it was the first year I lived in this city that I live in now. So I live in the Tri-Cities in Washington. So the first year I was here, that I took my kids trick or treating, we went through this one neighborhood, and we've gone back the past couple years, and it wasn't the same. But this was probably 20. When did we move here? That's a great question. I don't remember. But the first year that we moved here, we went trick or treating. It was so cool. It was an event. It was super fun, and there was this one house that was just decked out, smoke machine, lights, camera, action, everything. Like it was so cool. And I've gone back to that same house the past few years, and it's just dead. Like that whole street used to be like the street. It was so cool. It was so
Yeah.
fun. But now this specific house just isn't the same. But I still go down that street and into that neighborhood every year because I know the potential. I know that it can be. Unless they sold
Right.
the house or the people got older or something like that happened. I don't know. I don't drive past it that much. But maybe that happened. I just didn't know. But I miss it because that was so fun. Like that house was like the house. I remember it scared the crap out of my little daughter. She did knock it, but it was so cool. It was so fun. But now we go mostly. I have my kids every other Halloween, and so if I'm not with them trick or treating, then I'll go over to my best friends, and they usually do like a haunted house, like in their garage kind of thing. And they light up the whole block, and the neighbors love it and hate them for it because they're obligated at that point to make sure that they're like up and like awake and handing out candy and stuff. So they're like kind of sucked into Halloween. But they do a whole haunted house. They hand out popcorn at the end of it to like the kids and the people and stuff. We get cold here for Halloween, so it's already like
Yeah.
40s. It's already like freezing here, but it's super fun. So one year I was in it with them. I was Michael Myers, so I just hid like around a corner and then just like jump scared people like with a knife, like a play knife. And I just remember it so clearly. This one chick who was in it, I scared her so bad. She was on the floor, like she was on the ground, just like trying to like crawl away from me. And I probably overkilled it. Like I walked her like toward the next person, and the next person like jumped down and scared her even worse.
No, poor lady.
Yeah, it was great. And people are taking their kids through, so it's just like some kids are unfazed, some people are just all like scared and everything. But no, it's a good time. That's my
Sean,
favorite part of Halloween. Is awesome.
Shawn likes to scare people, and the parents encourage us to scare their children.
Yeah, I remember last year, we had like a pumpkin theme, and I had a pumpkin mask on, and I was holding out the bowl of candy for kids to come up and get it, and people were like, "Is that real? Is it a prop? Like,
Were
was
you
it?"
just like sitting? Were you like sitting just with like the
Yes.
mask like
Yep.
super still?
Yep.
Love it.
And the parents knew that it was me,
They were recording.
and they were just like, "Do it, do it, do it." And some of them were so small. I was like, I don't want to frighten this child.
This feels unethical.
But the parents was like, "Do it, please do it."
Yeah.
Good times.
No, sometimes it's fun to give your kids a little scare during Halloween. Like my older
That's what it's
one,
for.
exactly. Like my older one, she doesn't mind like the scariness of Halloween. Like she's all about it. Like she'll go to like Spirit Halloween and she'll be the one pressing on everything, like pressing on it, look at it, saying, "Daddy, look, this is so fun." And then my little one, she just no, thank you. She will jump into my arms, curl her head into my shoulder so she can't see. And she's just the biggest little scaredy cat ever, and it's so cute and it's so fun. But she wants to, but then she like is too scared of it, and so she
Right.
gets scared just going to Spirit Halloween. While my older one can't wait to go to Spirit Halloween. Wants to look at everything. She wants to look at all the scary stuff. She's like, "Yeah, it's not that bad." So I have one psychopath and one normal child. So I'll let you decide who's who. So overall for you guys, do you guys have any like unique or fun traditions that you guys like to do during the holidays, whether it be Halloween or Christmas? This is the second part of that of Manny's question.
Probably decorating is our tradition. Like thinking through what our concept. God, that's extreme, a concept.
What the
But
theme?
what the theme will be. We don't draw it out or anything. But
It
we
sounds like
definitely think through. What's that?
It sounds like you do draw it out. Are you sure? It's me if you do. There's nothing wrong with it. I promise. Meticulous when it comes to the decorating, and it's like
We
go big or
are.
go home. So in like the garage, do you guys just have like bins upon bins of like decorations? Are they
We
labeled?
actually do.
We finally threw some out last year. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, we've beaten this into the ground. It's time to go. But
Which means we just need to get new stuff this year.
Darn.
it's money.
Shucks.
It's expensive.
I know.
Yeah.
But we have a reputation to uphold.
We do. It's so funny story. This house we live in now, we've been for 5 years, but we used to live in the same neighborhood in a townhouse. And we would still try to decorate that townhouse out of this world. And we had some people that trick or treated in townhouses, but came this way when we first moved here. And they were like, "Were you the guys that lived at the townhouse? Because this is looking like their level of decorating." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's us." So I feel like we have to live up to it now.
Yeah.
I love that. So when do you guys start like planning and like starting to execute the thing? Is it like beginning of October? Is it September? You're mapping everything out, thinking when the decorations start to drop, and you end up going to Walmart or Target, and you're like, "Ooh, the Halloween decorations are coming out." Like you see them starting to reset it all, slowly put little things out.
Honestly, it's probably more like end of August.
When we start shopping.
We'll start shopping, or we'll start coming up with ideas, because the stores will start putting stuff up really early. So if you go in like late September, October, like a lot of stuff is already gone, or
Yeah,
they're putting in just
that's true.
crazy. So yeah, we usually start around August.
And we'll decorate like end of September.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Everybody stares like, there they go again.
No,
Like,
that makes sense.
"Hi."
That makes sense because all the big retailers kind of hit like back to school, back to college really hard in that time frame.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like kids are back in school, they blow out all the school supplies. Then it's like Halloween, and
Yeah.
they start dropping all the decorations. So that time frame makes a lot of sense because that's about when they start to drop it. And you're so right. If you don't get it like right away when it's first put out, you miss out on pretty much everything.
Yep.
Or if you're not there the day the Spirit Halloween opens, and like you're losing out on something kind of thing. So
Yeah, we definitely go looking for Spirit Halloweens. We're like, where have they opened?
Yeah, we
Where
like
are
to
they?
check out the new products, see what they have, to see if it will fit what we're trying to do. Also, Amazon has come in clutch. We can't find something and we can get it here in a day or two. We'll do
Amazon.
that too.
Just saying, Amazon is a frequent flyer here, and it's not me ordering it. It's not me ordering it.
Sure.
It's not. I promise. I order other random stuff. Like I'll order just stuff I see on like TikTok that I like just keep thinking about. Like I ordered sunflower seeds from TikTok, like the smacking sunflower seeds, because I love sunflower seeds. I kept seeing these things pop up everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm ordering them. No, actually, I convinced my wife to order them for me, and because I kept bringing them up, I'm like, man, look at these seeds. They look so good. The ones I keep finding, they're all just kind of boring and stuff. And then all of a sudden, there's a box of sunflower seeds. I'm like, sick. Where TikTok shop's super hit or miss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Haven't bought anything from TikTok shop. Sometimes some things are very convincing. I'm like, I'm going to save that and come back to it.
Yeah. See if I remember it. Do you guys use Tmoo ever?
I have not yet. I do have a coworker and she has used it and she will use it to compare things from Amazon because you can like kind of reverse Google image search on there and she's found things, the exact same things that Amazon has is on Temu for cheaper.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Do you?
No, I like Tmoo quite actually. I use it for my day job, I'm a mental health clinician. So one thing that I've used Temu for a lot is for like mental health, like mental health like related things, like like posters or wall decorations or handouts or like card games. Like there's a lot of really cool card games on Temu, like little talks. So it helps like prompting questions for like kids in different categories to help them be like comfortable and open up. So I've definitely used Temu quite a bit for just like random like gifts and things like that. Him and Clutch for Christmas because like this Christmas I was buying a lot more gifts because like my family expanded, getting married and stuff. And so I had to use it more. And then like in February I had to use it a ton because it was Valentine's Day. There's like 4 birthdays in February, like every week in February. It
Wow.
was like something. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't even focus on one thing because like my wife's birthday and Valentine's Day are a week apart.
Oh wow.
So it's like a lot. And then my mother-in-law's birthday and my sister-in-law's birthday are in there. Like it's just a ton all in 1 month. Too much. They need to spread that out
Maybe
a little
I
bit.
need
I
to
don't know
check
how
it
they
out.
can, but I recommend it. I don't mind it. I think the quality's pretty good. You just got to read the details because sometimes a picture will look like it's going to be a big like poster or something, and it's like this little rinky-dink 8x11 kind of thing. But that's because I didn't read what I was ordering, kind of thing. But I've got these super cool like not 2x2, but 2 foot long like posters in my office at work of like Pokemon. So I got these really cool. They're like on like a canvas like vinyl print thingy. They're like $8 and they're like really cool, like in my office kind of thing. And so some stuff comes on like this really cool like vinyl like canvas like art. It's unframed, like you could buy frames for it from like the dollar store to make it look like amazing. But it's super fun. I like Temu. I would recommend it. You may be able to score some like Halloween stuff on there for just like dirt cheap, or Christmas. I know they just have so many different decorations and options there. So again,
We
Temu,
should
not a
check
sponsor that's
I mean,
sparking.
I think you should send them this episode so you can get
so
that
you can get
sponsorship.
sponsored.
I don't know. They have a lot of like controversy and stuff.
They do.
A
Never
little bit too
mind.
much. A little bit too much. All right. So Manny, Shawn, what inspired you guys to start the Manny and Shawn experience? Like I know it diverged is the right word from just daily dinner conversation, but what was the moment where you guys were like, we should start a podcast kind of thing?
So we have been thinking a lot. Like, should we do YouTube? Or if we did YouTube, what would that look like? And then we would think about, like, at dinner, because this was, I would usually go to the office. He works from home. So dinner time is the time to like catch up on the day. And we'd be like, did you see this news story? Or did you read this article? Did you see this video? And we would just go on tangents with each other and talk about different things. And we'd be like, this could be a podcast. Also, I think we felt like it was a way for us to contribute to the LGBTQ plus community, because there are a lot of topics or a lot of things that people don't understand about the community, and if we could educate people on things and try to help people see that people in this community are just like you, just like anybody else. We go through similar things as anybody else, and just trying to be a voice. Because, like Manny said, we are big advocates for mental health. And there are a lot of people in our community who either don't reach out for help or don't know how to get help or feel alone. And we thought, well, this podcast would be a way to foster community or create community for those type of people, knowing that this is a space where you are free to be yourself. If you want to write us on Instagram or send us an email, or if you want to do so anonymously, we're here. And we just want the show before was called something different, and we changed it to the Manny and Shawn experience, because we wanted to focus on different experiences that life has and that people have. So, long story short, we just thought our dinner conversations were entertaining enough for us. Maybe they would be entertaining for other people.
I
We
love
thought
that.
we were funny.
You guys are hilarious. I love listening to you guys. I love how you guys just break down topics and it's just so like straightforward sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like calling it out, calling literally it for what it is. Like
Yeah,
no
'cause
fluff,
I
no
feel
nothing.
like
Like it's just breaking down.
that doesn't happen as much as it should. Not to like harp on media or anything, but like I feel like things that should be a big deal, we don't treat them like they're big deals.
Mm-mm.
And I don't understand why we don't.
100%.
Ratings. I don't know.
Clickbait, ratings, titles. But no, it's 100%. Like they'll take the smallest things and make it big things, and big things
Right.
make it like subdue, like just average day to day kind of thing. So it kind of spins like all of us into like this cycle of, oh well, it's really not a big deal, but there's other thing over here. This is a big deal. But if you take like the step back and you use your your common sense essentially, and you're like, wait, hold on, that's the big deal over here, that's the little deal, holy crap, I see it, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it happens literally every day
It
in
does.
everything. Like you'll see TikTok freak out about one certain thing or Twitter freak out about a certain thing, while these outlets that are putting out like, or these TikTok pages or Instagram pages or whatever pages are putting out like the actual big things going on in the world kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
Like there was a Russian nuclear ship in Cuba
Oh
just
yeah.
this last week kind of thing. There's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, the
But
media
everyone
was
will
like,
know.
"Oh, just hanging by the coast, flying or cruising past Florida. And I was like, wait, I live in Florida. There's a what off the coast of Florida?
Yeah, a Russian nuclear ship? Okay. That's comforting.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
No, not at all.
No,
Not at all.
not talk about that at all. But let's talk about, I don't know, what's something that's bigger than it should be right now.
It should be easy.
It should
But
be.
there's so many things to think of.
Now that comes to mind is because my brother and I keep sending like all the funny memes and things we see of it, but Hawk 2 girl. Have you guys seen the Hawk 2?
No. What
The
is
girl
this?
that's like the meme right now. She's like the meme. So she was interviewed by a TikToker. He said, he asked her like some very like sexual kind of question. So if you're listening with the families, tune this out real quick. But basically he asked her like, what's a move that makes a man go absolutely crazy in bed? And she has like a Southern accent. She's really cute kind of thing. She's a cute girl. I'm married, but she says, oh, you got to give him that old Hawk 2 and spit on that thing. And it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. Like her phrasing, the way she did it and everything. And so like that's like the meme right now. So people are making like AI country songs about it. They're making memes out of it, short videos out of it. It's just like everything. It is everything. So look up Hawk Girl. HAWKTUAH to be exact. And I don't know how it hasn't. Because it's everywhere. It is literally everywhere.
I was on TikTok for 3 hours yesterday. We were on the train coming back.
Yeah, we were on the train.
No, that's fine. I don't care about the time, but like, how did it not come up? Because it's literally like my whole, like every few videos is like another Hawk 2 meme kind of thing. Like
now,
literally
the TikTok algorithm is dangerous because once it sees you kind of seeing something, it just feeds the same product over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like when you're trying to flirt with someone and then like they're like giving you a little bit back and then you just go all in and then it's just like, whoa.
It's too much.
Wasn't ready for marriage yet.
Yeah, chill. But my Twitter feed is literally like Hawk 2 memes and baseball right now.
It's a good combo.
Yeah, it's I don't know. But you gotta see this. It's so fun. Like the memes that are being made out of it are so hilarious. But so everyone knows about that, but no one knows about this nuclear sub over here. No one knows that like North Korea and Russia are like besties right now. Kind of thing.
Oh my god, yeah, I did see that. Like Vladimir they were like shaking hands.
They threw a whole
parade in North Korea and like they agreed to like defend each other in like for whatever reason. So they have like a thing now. Like what? Okay.
That is a big deal.
That's not good.
Yeah. And it's interesting you said that because I did see it on the news, but it was very like, this happened.
Clip to
and
it.
then I saw it on TikTok and people are like, we should be talking about this. This isn't good.
These other things that just aren't talked about, like the conflict in the Middle East is spreading. Like it's spreading into Lebanon, is spreading like further and further outside of the original like October 7th attack. Like it's spreading and spreading and spreading. But a lot of people don't know that kind of thing. But everyone knows that like Taylor Swift just did this set at her latest concert wearing Chiefs colors because it was her 87th concert and she was wearing Chiefs colors and all this other stuff. Like we know that kind of thing for sure.
It really is, insert word, I guess. I can't think of one. Alarming that's where we're at right now. And it's interesting, not to get super political, but like we want to end TikTok. And I feel like TikTok has misinformation, right? All social media does.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I learn and can gather more content from TikTok and then maybe do some research. And I'm like, wow, what I read on TikTok was right versus what the news is telling me what's going on. So I feel like the suppression of TikTok is coming more from not allowing people to get information that maybe they don't want us to have yet.
I love TikTok for a breakdown. Like someone will take a situation and completely break down like, this is why this is happening. This is why it's bad. These are the things that led up to this thing happening. So people breaking down whatever the case may be and educating people is one of the things that I love the most about TikTok.
Yeah. And TikTok is mean. I've had so many videos flagged and I'm like, what did I say wrong in my TikTok? So I'm like, on Instagram, I can post anything. So I'm like, who's really the villain here? Media.
100%. And no, I agree. Like TikTok is a great source of information, and it's great to be able to get like your initial like, okay, that piqued my curiosity. Okay, let me go research this a little bit and let me go
Yeah.
look into this. And that's one thing like I am all for on this platform. Like, lean whatever way you want to lean, but please make sure you're informed. I'd rather
Yeah.
you be leaning one way or another versus not leaning at all because you're uninformed. And so when it
Yeah.
comes November this year and someone asks you, "Hey, are you voting?" I don't want to hear any father, especially anyone listening to this podcast, saying, I don't really know a lot about what's going on. That will literally blow my mind if someone says they don't know and they haven't been paying attention. It's going to be like, how can you not? Because it's literally been shoved down our throats kind of
Right.
thing for the last year by all the sides, all the different things going on. Like, everyone's heard about the trials and the Hunter Biden stuff. Like, everyone's heard about all the things going on everywhere. Everyone's seen Biden memes, Trump memes, RFK Jr. memes. Like, we've all seen memes of all these guys made fun of for how they talk, how they walk, how they maybe don't walk, how they space out, and all these other things. Like, we're talking about a bunch of old dudes, okay?
Right.
Talking
Exactly.
about
What do you expect?
yeah, can't expect too much, but no, it's 100%. Like, be informed, like, know
Yeah.
what the heck's going on.
So our last episode, I touched on this, and we've touched on this in other episodes. I don't care what side you're on. What really grinds my gears is people piping up, being loud and wrong because they are just following either speech rhetoric or, oppression of minorities or whatever the case may be. But most of the time, people are voting against their best interests and they don't realize it because they have not taken the time to do any sort of research or educate themselves on how this thing is going to affect you. You're listening to someone say something or you're seeing an elected official do something, and you may not like what they're doing, but you also haven't done any research to understand why they did the thing, or by voting by this person, what the things that they have planned can affect you, your family, your friends, people that you love. And again, I don't care what your political stance is as long as you educate yourself and know that who or what you're voting for.
Yes. Are you able to tell me why you are leading that way or voting that way? Is it, if you tell me your
Right.
why is because, oh, well, because my parents vote for this person, so I vote for that person. No, that's a terrible
No,
reason. If you're
it
voting a
is.
certain way because of someone else, then that's a terrible reason. Guess what? They send you every election that goes on locally or around you. So local elections are super important because
Yeah.
that's your school board. So that affects your kids. That affects how money's being spent, how it's like people who are auditing the books and things like that. So local elections definitely impact your local day-to-day life
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then state elections, things like that. They send you a little book. At least Washington State does. I'm not sure about Florida. I feel like Florida does because maybe not, but at least here in Washington, they send us like little pamphlets,
Mhm.
like little like paper, like 8x11 things, like newspaper style things. But it just tells you like a brief synopsis about like what each thing you're voting for, like what each
That
item on the ballot means.
honestly, every state should do
That
that
sounds amazing.
because a lot of times you will go to vote, there'll be this is amendment blah 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 or law blah blah blah, and it is written in a way that the average lay American won't understand.
Mm-mm.
And so there are some websites out there where you can type in, what state you're at, and it will kind of break it down for you in layman terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every state should do that because some
100%.
people they'll read it and think that they're voting one way for it when they're actually voting a different way because they didn't understand how it was written.
Yeah, unlike those mail-in ballots that you get, there should be like a little. If you want to get rid of the paper, because I know that every state wants to get rid of the paper, put a QR code on it that you can just scan real quick. That'll take you to said site so that you can just read a little bit about the candidate, maybe, or the bill you're voting on, or the legislation you're voting on, to make sure that you're voting for the right thing. But just learn it from somewhere. Get it from somewhere. Literally, like, get some information and be info and do it.
Yeah, be informed beyond the 30-second clips you get on the news, because they're not giving you the full story. They're giving you what's going to give the buzz.
Yeah.
And that's also the part that, don't just vote in presidential elections.
Yes. Like you said, local elections are sometimes have more harm than the person in the White House.
100%. Like the White House is, of course, the White House is the president. We hold them to like a very high like standard. They control like the nukes and the buttons and the military and things like that. They're commander in chief.
Right.
That's a big deal. They sign the big money deals, billions of dollars here and there. While we could take some of those packages and end homelessness in many cities across America. But I'm just saying that's its own thing. You know, the $130 billion that's been spent here and there could literally do wonders within our country. Like there's a school district here locally that, like my local school district that my kids are in, like next year they have to cut out all mental health services due to budgetary reasons. Like that's a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
Like, and the school board, not a lot of people know it, but like those local elections are where your aspiring big time politicians try to start.
Yeah.
That's where they try to start with their agendas, and like they start really small and local because you got to start small and local unless you're like RFK Jr. and you can just literally go and try and be president.
Right.
You know, we're not all like Kennedy.
Yeah, I got billions.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're like, go ahead. But RFK Jr. is kind of like the black sheep of the Kennedys, though. Which kind of gives him like some edge and stuff too. And he's like jacked out of his mind for his age. Like he is absolutely jacked.
He is.
I just saw him like in a video clip one time doing like push-ups with like a tank top or something, and he's like 70 something, and he is like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like jacked. Like it's insane.
We fight Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
Like physically.
We're all still waiting for the Zuckerberg and Elon fight too. So
still waiting on that one.
Getting on that one. That would be something fun. That would be fun. Like I would love to see that post-election, those two go at it. But anyways, I digress.
Brawl.
Yeah. Like the winner, like put RFK Jr., Biden, and Trump like in a ring and say, okay, whoever wins, last man gets to be president. The entertainment value of that would be insane.
I think everybody would get behind that.
Yeah, we would all be for that. It's like, yeah, literally beat your other candidates. Like, it's fair at that point. It's fair at that point. You know, there's no outside interference. Put them in a cage, lock them in, one referee who is like someone who knows nothing about politics. Pay that referee a ton of money, like from a third party. Have Elon fund that referee, kind of thing. Have Elon, Zuckerberg, and like so one big billionaire from each party fund that referee, so he literally has no bias or no reason to go one way or another, and then just put him in a cage. Last man standing wins. I think it's an idea. Okay,
we'll take all the campaign money and put it to good causes like mental health, homelessness,
right?
Yes.
I think that could solve a lot of problems because like, how much would you pay for that pay-per-view? If that was a thing, how much do you think the average person would pay to see that?
I mean, I feel like everybody would want to watch it. So I feel like you could almost charge what you wanted.
On YouTube, all the streaming services all streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, they all get a piece, so everyone gets to watch it. And I don't know, $100
to something.
I think we are. Anyways, make sure you get informed and you know what the heck is going on locally, because those local elections have more of a. So where we were here, those local elections have more of an impact on your day to day than a national election will, more than likely, because that's the stuff that's going to affect like your local laws and regulations and your local taxes, state taxes, all those things like that. Like from pretty much from like the governor level down, you should
Yeah.
really be concerned about. Like you should definitely be voting for your governor, and then you should be voting for your senators and all that stuff below that, all the way down to your local community, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like, I guess one thing to note here is like look it up because it should be public information, but follow the money kind of thing.
Mm.
Follow who is paying these candidates, who are their like campaign donors, like follow the money and like follow it back. Because words talk, but numbers scream, right? And
Yeah,
so
for real.
follow who the money is coming from. And oh, this person's getting paid by this organization. I know that this organization stands for this. So this person, if they got 65% of their campaign funding from this organization, well, guess what? 65, if not more percent of what they do and stand for and they're going to try to do while in office is probably going to align a little
Mhm.
bit this way. And the other 35%, they're probably going to forget about because that 65 is going to turn into 90 and it's not that big
Right.
of a jump.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 100. Like we've seen in Florida so many local races go the way we probably wouldn't agree with, and it's having significant issues or implications on school board districts, local county decision making. Like the governor here recently passed a law that homeless people cannot sleep
In public.
anywhere in public. But there was nothing to back that bill to help those people who are homeless. So now homeless people, unfortunately, they have nowhere to, and they already don't have anywhere to go. Now there's really nowhere to go. Now they can get arrested or put in jail. It's like the bill should have had some kind of funding behind it to help
yeah,
people.
like
Like here
shelter
in our
or
area,
abandoned
was that
hotels or something, like shelters or like abandoned hotels or hotels that
exactly?
aren't being used, like fund those to put these people up for 30, 60, 90 days,
Yeah.
provide people to go and help them find jobs or whatever and kind of thing to actually fix the problem, not make the problem essentially worse.
Exactly. We have something called Pinellas Hope here, and I think Tampa Hope, which is it started like a community of tents. And they did kind of that. You can come live here, get a shower, get a meal, live 30 to 60 days, get career counseling, and get you ready to go in the workplace. And they've expanded. They had asked for money from the state to try to fund more properties because they're moving from tents to small,
Like tiny houses.
so they want to build more tiny houses, especially with this bill that got vetoed in the budget because apparently it wasn't important. But like we were in Miami this weekend and I turned to the left as we were in Uber and it was a parking lot full of people just sleeping on the parking lot. And it wasn't a designated parking lot, I don't think. But it just I had a moment of pause there. Like you see all this money going everywhere and it's like I'm like maybe 500,000 could fix this right here for these people. It's
Yeah.
just sad.
Yeah. It's small amounts of those big numbers that we hear past and funding the military industrial complex, like
Yeah.
these big numbers that are funding these, proxy wars and things like that across the world in multiple different areas. Like there's a lot more. Like we all know about Ukraine, we know about Israel, we know about Taiwan, but there's more. There's some
Yeah.
in Nicaragua. They're all over the world
Mhm.
that we're funding. We just don't talk about them. Like there's
Right.
some in South America, there's some in Africa, there's some. I don't think there's any in Australia. I think Australia has like their own thing going on, but they're pretty
They're like,
self-sufficient
we
over
good.
there. They're like, we don't even have guns for our citizens. Like we don't need
Right.
America kind of thing. But I feel like we're literally in every other of the 5 continents, including our own, and somewhere funding some kind of proxy for some reason, and it's not working. We see the effects that it has on our country more and more and more, kind of thing. Homelessness, joblessness, everything just is hunger. Schools getting the short end of it. Like, how are we supposed to have a successful future when our future doesn't even have mental health services in school, when our future doesn't have proper education, when our future is having to pay $1 million to go to college, or our future doesn't even want to go to college, or our future feels no need or motivation to go to college because like that's what they're being taught on TikTok, is that they can just be a social media influencer and make millions of dollars kind of thing and do little work. Like, how does that help our future? And then you look at that generation, what is it, Gen Alpha right now, or Gen X or whatever, that's like early 20s. I think it's Gen.
I think it's Alpha,
I think it's Alpha too.
but don't
I
quote
think
me on that.
okay. So the newer generation that's like in their young 20s, there's problems here. They're not getting married, they're not having children, they're not motivated to do anything, they're not working. Like this generation, I heard this crazy statistic, but of the working like age of this generation of Gen Alpha or Gen X, I think whichever one, like the working age, and these are men and women in their 20s, like early 20s, okay, are taking their parents to interviews with, like job interviews with them. A third of them. Yeah.
I see that because I work with
I can see
students.
that.
And the other day I had a student online and they were 22. And she was like, I hope you don't mind, my mom's here. I'm like, I had to do a double take because she's actively working at a hospital. And I'm like, why do we need your mom here to talk about your schooling? And her mom was answering all the questions, asking all the questions. And I'm like,
See?
she's not ready to go to college because she can't even, in my mind, can't think for herself right now
Mhm.
because she can't even decide what career she wants to go to. You're telling her what career to go into.
Yeah.
So I am seeing that a lot because I mostly work with professional adults, but there are some younger employees getting into the workforce in the hospitals that I work with. But I am noticing that like parents are joining more calls, and I'm like, am I back at the college level when I used to work at a college? Because I used to work with just college and freshmen. So now that I've been working with adults, and now I'm seeing this trend of younger kids kind of starting to work, but total dependency on parents, on just basic questions. I asked her once, what is your interest? And her mom answered, well, she likes to do this. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should just talk to mom. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
just it's crazy because it's just like one thing in my line of work that I do. So we work with youth and families ranging from 5 to 21 for intensive outpatient mental health services. And one thing that we really try to empower is youth voice and choice, but we really try to empower the youth to speak up no matter what the age, to advocate for like
Mhm.
what they need and to say what they want and things like that. And a lot of times they get overpowered by the parents to where we have to go, no, no, let them speak, let them talk. So I feel like that's another big problem here, is like the kids are just so used to like mom and dad doing everything for them. Like my kids hate it. Like my older one, she doesn't like it because I'll be like, yeah, go do that thing. It's like, can you no, go get your own blanket or go get your own water. But if I already
Right.
gave her like her like melatonin or something for the evening, and she asked for like a cup of water or something, and she's already like half slumped on the couch, like that's an exception kind of thing. But if she's wide
Right.
awake middle of the day and she's asking me to go do something simple for her that I know she's plenty capable of, it's no, go do it, go do it. You can do it kind of thing. So just kind of, we don't, not enough parents like re-empower their kids to do the things like that they are more than capable of doing themselves. So then when they get to that adult age, they don't have confidence. They have no confidence to be like, I can do this. Like they don't know because they're never told, they're never taught, and they're never shown like they can do things for themselves. Like they are more than
Right.
capable of doing it for themselves, coping on their own, handling their emotions on their own, being able to do these things for themselves. Like they are able to do it, but they've never been exposed or given the opportunity to do it, and which I think is some of that breakdown leading to it. And they've just been so like, not, I don't want to say baby, they just haven't been given the chance to spread their little wings and fly, butterfly.
Yeah.
Right.
There, anytime they may, and I don't know, I don't have kids. I just work with kids. But
Close enough.
anytime I feel in those situations, maybe the child or the young adult has tried to express their feelings or what they're thinking, and I feel like the parents have kind of put them back in the box, like your voice doesn't matter here. And
Yes.
I saw that a lot working with freshmen, where students were being told, go be a nurse, go be a nurse. And this, when I would have a moment with a student by themselves, they're like, I don't want to be a nurse. I
Mhm.
want to be an engineer. I want to be a dancer. And it's like, it always put me in a spot of like, what do I do? Like, I can encourage, but I know that I would be pinned up against the parent at that point. But I saw that a lot, and it was a little, you know, I look at my upbringing, and I felt that, but I felt like I took it upon myself to be like, no, parents, if you're watching, sorry, mom and dad. I'd be like, no, parents, this is the route I want to go. This is
Mhm.
my life. You did your life. I'm going to do me now. And I feel like we have to bring that back for the younger youth, because I see it all the time. They are just by their parents, and you can see it. They're not happy in the
Yes.
academic way they're going. And usually those students don't progress. They end up dropping out of school, end up with a lot of debt that led to no degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Shawn, go ahead. You look like you have a thought.
No, I'm good.
Are you like ready to like say a thought? I'm like, here it comes. He's ready. He's got it. All right. Well, I have a couple things I want to end on here. But before we end here and wrap this thing up, I just want to give a quick shout out to our closing sponsor of the show, the June app. That's JOON. If you listen to the podcast for any amount of time, you know I love June. I use it at home. I use it as a therapy tool. I use it day to day, and I recommend it for every parent that has a child who struggles with behavior, habit, or routine. Any of those three, if they had ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, oppositional defiance disorder, any of these big disorders that could impact their daily functioning, June is the app you need. It mixes a video game tied with tasks and rewards, so it's quick dopamine hits with the video game, and things are getting done around the house. They're brushing their teeth, getting dressed, doing the things that they know they're supposed to do, and they're earning coins for it. And guess what? You as a parent, you get to set the coin amount for them, and you get to give them the reward. So what you do is you assign the task. They go, they monkey see, monkey do tasks. Monkey's the child here. Monkey does the task. They complete task on the app, and then it goes back to you as a parent for validation, verification. Uh, and so you can do it one of two ways here. You can just quick say, "Yep, I believe you that you did it. Cool." Now they know, like, okay, I can get away with half-assing it, doing whatever I want. Or you as a parent can be like, okay, I'm gonna go check and validate it like I'm supposed to, and then you can say, hey, your room's kind of not done how I expect it to be done. So you either get half your coin, or I'll give you one more chance to do it and get it right. And then it's a whole conversation. You set expectations, and it's an ongoing, happy, loving conversation, and it really helps your child long term. So June, you can try it for absolutely for free down in the description of the links in the description of the episode for free. And if you love it, use the code and you'll earn some money off your annual subscription, and you help support the podcast as well. So, with that, Shawn, one thing you said earlier that I really kind of wanted to bring us back to here was you mentioned how what I kind of got from it is that we're all really not that different in terms of what we go through, what we see, and trying to foster a space of community and openness and be able to express yourself how you want to express yourself. And that's so important between, the LGBTQ plus community. My older sister is it okay to say a part of that community?
Yeah.
Yes.
One of those people that's like, I don't know what's like okay. And it's ironic because like more than half the people I work with are part of the community as well. And
Yeah.
so like I learn a lot just being like at work. Um, and so it's important, but we're really not that different. We're all struggling with a lot of the same things. Like we're all affected by whether it's inflation or politics in some way. We're all impacted by the same things at the same time. We all just maybe have some different things that make us who we are, and that's okay. So, I guess if you guys had to both leave like just a final message here, like for the listeners, either together or separate, what kind of last like advice or actually, no, let me phrase it like this. For the parent who does have a child in the LGBTQ plus community, or maybe they're struggling with their mental health because of it, because if you go and look it up, the suicide rates among it's okay if I say queer youth,
Yep.
who are like discovering that they're queer and understanding a little bit more. They they really struggle in this aspect. So the suicide rates are very, very high, like disturbingly high, and it's not okay. So I personally believe a lot of that comes from like within the home, lack of acceptance and whatnot. Personally, that's where a lot of it comes
Mhm.
from, and then you add in school bullying, things like that. But for the
Mhm.
parents who do have a queer youth in their home, and the parents who are really struggling with it, from your guys' perspective, what kind of things could the parents do to help? Like, what kind of advice would you have for them?
So for me, I was ready for this one. I don't know why. I was formulating an answer as you were asking because I think we touched on it many episodes ago because we had a viewer question come through kind of about the same. And there's a difference between, at least to me, acceptance and understanding. The acceptance part, I think, is the hardest part for adults, accepting that their child is part of the LGBTQ plus community. But understanding, where am I going with this? Listening, that's what I wanted to say. Listening to them. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to understand the LGBTQ plus community. You don't need to start thinking, was it something I did? Did I raise them wrong? Did I not provide enough masculinity or feminine traits for them or advice? Listening to the child when they're telling you they are a member of the community, to me, would have made the world of difference growing up. I wasn't heard. I was sent to the church. And I'm getting a little emotional about that. Making sure you listen to your child, even if you don't understand it, understand they don't understand what they're going through. They have these feelings, they feel they're different, they acknowledge they might not be attracted to the same person that they should be. Having that understanding that they're kind of going through that is just listening and provide a resource for them. And then you as a parent, it's going to be a learning curve for you too. Going there and then finding your resources to be able to cope, because I know it's hard for parents, and we can do a whole episode with you about that. But really listening to them and understanding that you don't need to have all the answers right then and there. But sometimes when somebody finally comes out to you, they just want you to listen. And you don't have to say anything back. And if you are going to say something back, it should be something at least in the form of positivity, not, well, we're going to schedule you with the priest, which is kind of what happened to me. And that created a big rift for me from that point on as a gay person. But yeah, that was a lot. Sorry, I got emotional and then I lost my train of thought.
I appreciate the
It's
openness.
fine.
Or Sean, I'm
I'm
sorry.
going
Got you guys
to.
confused.
It's okay. I'm gonna agree with Manny because that's what I was thinking as well. It's just listen to your child first. And from what Manny said, the thing that you should say back should be positive. But the thing you should say is that I love you. You are my child. And nothing about that is going to change.
Yes.
I know.
Thank you for summarizing what I was trying to say.
Oh, you guys balance each other. Oh.
I understand that parents have a set idea of what they think their child should be, should do, and who they should be. But I think the thing that a lot of parents need to realize is that you created a new life. When you were born, you had the opportunity to be and shape whatever you wanted to be. A lot of people or parents bring a lot of childhood trauma from their parents into their parenting. I feel like the generation now, the millennials, we've gotten used to mental health, right?
Mhm.
It isn't what it used to be, where if you're going to see a therapist, then you're crazy or something's wrong with you or you're broken. It took a lot for us to be able to go to therapy. But in that therapy and in that healing journey, I feel like our generation is raising kids better, or at least trying to do better than their parents did. And I think that's what all parents should strive for. You know what it was like for you growing up. And if your parents didn't treat you the way that they should have, and you have a child, and now you have the opportunity, do things differently, just love your child regardless. This is the being that you created. This is the being that you are raising. I think they just want to know that they are loved, because the biggest thing for me was the potential of losing my family. And I feel like whenever someone comes out, that is the biggest fear. You're surrounded by these people that you love and care about, and they love and care about you. And this one thing that you could say to them could make all that disappear. So, yeah, that's what I would say to a parent.
We can't hear you.
My bad. My dogs are barking outside, and didn't want that to disturb what you guys were saying there. But those are some great messages there. Like, it's so important. And I think this has really captured that, meet that message and that coming out with love. You know, be prepared. And part of that is having that conversation. Like, you don't want to think about it, kind of thing. I don't think any parent realistically wants to think about, well, maybe I'll take that back. But I would say most parents probably don't think like
Yeah.
this is ever gonna be a thing.
Right.
So we don't really think about it. But it's important to just run the scenario, in your head, kind of thing. Like, how would I meet that? Like, how would we react? Kind of thing. Like, what would we do? What would I do? What would be different? Would anything be different? Kind of thing. Like, how would I like respond to that? And I think, Shawn, you hit it right there. Like, respond to it with love, and I think that's just the appropriate way to respond to anyone that is queer in the LGBTQ plus community. Just respond to it with love, because they're still a person.
Right.
They're still a normal person, and so what? You still love them, whether you're religious or not. Like, the message here, like for me, that I've always tried to teach my kids, that I personally believe, that goes against some of like my Christian like peers and whatnot that I go to church with. But it's like, just why don't you just love them? Like, Jesus loved everybody. He didn't care who or whatnot. Like, he wanted to go and find the one that was like way off course kind of thing. Like, he wanted to find the one. Like, just love them. Love people.
Right.
There's not enough love in our world. There's not enough love but for damn sure there's not enough love in our country. That's for damn sure. And it spreads across not only, gender and sexuality, but it spreads across race. It spreads across minority categories, spreads across homelessness. It spreads across literally every demographic. The simple answer is like, let's take care of us and love ourselves. Like, that's a big part of mental health, right? Like, you have to love yourself.
Right.
But our country doesn't love itself. We don't love ourselves. Our government doesn't love ourselves. We love everyone else. We want to show the love to everybody. We want to show, that we got everyone's back. But we don't have our own back, and we don't love ourselves, which is why like ourself is divided and crumbling within ourselves. And a big remedy for that is love. I think is a big takeaway from here. So to kind of put a little bow on that one, and to put a bow on this episode, I know we probably said it about 12 times, but what is the name of your guys' podcast, and where can people find you?
The Manny and Shawn Experience Podcast. We're on all streaming services and YouTube. The quickest way to find us is MASXP23.
Yep.
There we be. And our
And I love that you
in-house
guys
photo
released
shoot.
an episode like for like Juneteenth. I thought that was super cool. My work didn't recognize Juneteenth as a holiday, even though it's a federal holiday. My work doesn't recognize
Yeah.
it, and I'm mixed, so that was like a big deal for me. Like I made it everyone's like knowledge, like what was going on locally for Juneteenth, and made everyone like aware of it. But then the next day, this is just kind of like a random off-topic thing, but like the next day, like we literally talked about it being the longest day of the year and the summer solstice more than we talked about Juneteenth.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's still
But-
where we are as a country,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like we're talking
It's
about
so true. The news, at least the one I watched, spent a whole segment about the summer solstice.
yeah. It's like how are we talking more about that than this much more significant thing that is much more important to our country as a whole than
Yeah.
Yeah.
the sun's out an hour longer today. Like not to discount it, but let's put a bow on it before we go into another podcast here, because we got a lot to go into. But Manny, Shawn, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Huge shout out to our listeners for bearing with us and all of our tangents, and we really hope that you gain something. There's so much to gain from this episode, but whatever you gain from this episode, make sure to go and drop it in the Q&A. If you're listening, drop it in the comments. Let me know on Instagram. Give Manny and Shawn a follow and do all those things to support both the shows. 5 stars, leave a review, all those things. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening on, do the thing that you know to support the podcast. And make sure you go throw that trash away from that juice box and from your snack. And have a great rest of your day. And we'll catch you next time here on the podcast.